G'day everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do a bit of a test on my little DJI Mini 3 Pro, as you can see pictured in the bottom left hand corner of the screen here. Now I wanted to do a speed, distance and battery test on this little drone, and what I intend to do is to fly. I'm sitting here on the southern headland. What I want to do was fly in a northern direction for exactly 60 seconds in all three modes, being cinematic, normal and sport mode. Now what I want to do is take note of the battery level before I depart, fly for a minute, and then once again look at the battery level when I've finished my 60 seconds in all three modes. Naturally see the top speed that I get to in all three modes and see if there's much difference in the battery usage in all three modes. Now as you can see on the top of the screen, I'm in top left hand corner, you'll see that I'm in cinematic mode and I've got 92% battery. So I've started my timer, 60 seconds, and my little iPhone alarm's going to go off. I'll take note of the speed and distance as we're going. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see I'm at a height of 7.7 meters. My distance is slowly creeping up. I've gone just over 120 meters in distance now. I've got an impressive 15 hours 35 minutes of storage left on my 256 SD card inside, and as you can see I'm travelling at a resolution of 1080p 30 frames a second. Now the little speed indicator in the bottom of the screen here indicates that I'm going around 21 to 22 kilometers per hour. As I said, there's not much wind around. I'm getting very close to that minute, and I'll actually see on my return journey, if I'm going the same speed, that I'll know that there's pretty much the same wind speed in either direction. So I'm just coming up to my minute now, and I've just hit a minute, and that says I was about 348 meters away. So that's interesting, and I've got about 89% battery left. Okay, so now I wasn't really going to record the return journey, but I think the view heading back in the southern direction is actually nicer than the view heading north. Okay, and I've just noticed now, looking down at the bottom of the screen, my return speed is pretty much the same as my my speed going out, so I know that there's not much wind out there. Now as I'm flying back, you probably see in the distance, in the left hand side of the screen, the little town in the distance, that's Kiama, beautiful New South Wales coastal town. Definitely worth a visit if you're out this way. And you can see my little car, little brown dot just there in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. That's my car. And that's where myself, the pilot, and my little co-pilot are sitting. Now one thing I always do, I notice when I'm looking into the remote screen, it's quite a nice, stable, calm, smooth flight. And I notice when I'm flying back in, when I get close to the car, I start looking at the drone instead of the screen, and that's when I notice I start getting very jerky sort of movements. I've got to learn to trust the screen and the remote more than I do at the moment. So it looks like I've returned with 86% battery, and if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll also see, and I should have mentioned this earlier, that I've still got full signal in my RC remote all the way out when I'm a kilometre off, picking up 32 satellites, and yeah, my battery life is going well. I forgot to mention that I'm using the plus battery, the 47 minute battery, which is definitely a goer. It really puts my mind at ease, and I get less, battery anxiety when I'm flying. Okay, so that's the test done in cinematic mode completed. I'll now get ready to do the same thing in normal mode. Okay, so I've switched over to normal mode, but before I take off, I just wanted to point out to everyone we're in Kiama, New South Wales, as I mentioned before, and you can see just in the middle of the screen the little rock platform on rock formation is Cathedral Rocks. It's a famous tourist attraction down this way. Cathedral Rocks in between the Boneyard and Jones's Beach, Kiama. Okay, so I've just switched over to normal mode. I've activated my timer, 60 seconds once again, and away we go. I tell you what too, the colour of the water as we're in the shallow part here is absolutely magnificent. A beautiful little spot, one of my favourite spots around here. I also noticed that we started with 79% battery. You can see now that I'm hitting speeds of around 35, 36 kilometres an hour. Okay, top left-hand corner of the screen, Minamara Headland, Minamara or Rangoon Island. There was an old shipwreck there in the late 1800s called the Rangoon, Bass Point in the distance. So I'm at about 450 metres, I've still a little time left. I think looking at my watch it's about to stop now. It looks like 550, yeah, that 1 minute up, 550 metres, 77% battery left. Okay, so I'll turn around and head back home again. Now this time what I might do is I might go and hug the coastline, the little rock pools and rock platforms around the southern end of this beach are absolutely beautiful. Now some may notice that the battery here is at 67%. I just ask you guys to ignore that, don't worry about that, because there was a flight in between this and the last that I've since deleted, so that's okay. This is Jones's Beach, New South Wales coast. You can see how beautiful the water is, how crystal clear it is. Looking down the left hand side you can see Cathedral Rocks from the other side, looks very impressive, and I love these shots flying over the cliffs. On a calmer day there's beautiful little rock pools in and around these cliffs, and as I just go over this cliff here, if you look down quickly you'll see my two favourite rock pools, beautiful little swimming spots. And once again the speed hasn't changed, so the wind is very still, or there's no wind. Now the battery level is a lot lower than it was on the flight out, but that's because there was a flight in between these that I've since deleted. Okay, so I've now just changed the drone over to sport mode. I'm sitting on around 62%, preparing to take off and fly up. Now speeds are varying around, they are varying a little bit more, but they're roughly in between 57 and 59 kilometres an hour. I think they said on the box the drone at this speed does 55, so that's good to know. It's a little bit higher. We'll just keep an eye on the return trip. So I imagine with that, that would probably mean that I'll go about a kilometre. So I've just passed the 30-second mark. And what am I, 600 metres out. I expect that I'll probably hit, I'm watching the clock very carefully now, I'll probably hit 1 kilometre nearabouts as the timer comes up. 59, 60, yeah, I'm just under a kilometre and I've just had the alarm go off. So roughly, well that would make sense, 60, if I'm doing 60 kilometres an hour, in 1 minute, that's 1 kilometre, so yeah, that'd be right. So I'm just a smidgen under 60 kilometres an hour. I've now got 55% battery power left. One thing I am noticing now in sport mode more than anything else is that while the battery level is slowly declining, the time estimation beside the battery level, you can see up in the top right hand corner, the battery level, that's varying a lot. At the moment it's saying I've got 14 minutes left, 13 minutes left. That's going up and down. I imagine it's because there's a bit of a breeze or as I'm manoeuvring around, so it's gone up to 18, 20 minutes remaining time. And that was a bit scary. Earlier on it said 23 metres and about a minute later it had 12 minutes left, and I thought, my God, if I've used that much in 1 minute, then I'll probably fall into the water very soon. But yeah, you keep an eye more on the percentage left, and that speed, sort of that minute calculation is just a rough estimate, and I think it's according to the conditions that the drone is currently in. So that does vary a lot, and I think it can put a lot of people off. But yeah, just keep an eye on that, the battery percentage, and I think you'll be okay. So just having a bit of a tour around, you can see the beautiful boneyard in the foreground, and you can just see Kiama Lighthouse in the distance. That's the little town of Kiama. Beautiful little spot. I think it's the best place in the world. Now I probably should have shot this video in 4K resolution instead of 1080p, but I generally do 1080p because When I'm uploading my videos, I notice it takes a lot longer if I've taken it, particularly if I've taken a long video like 20 or 25 minutes. Uploading a 4K video in comparison to uploading a 1080p video takes considerably longer. But when I think I'm out and about flying, and especially when I'm zooming in, I should probably go for the higher resolution and just be a little bit more patient and start filming in 4K. I mean, that's what these drones are all about, getting the best possible footage. So you might see that this is my last video in 1080p, I suppose. And throughout this video you've seen in the bottom left hand corner a picture of my little drone, and I've put that there because before I took off I didn't actually connect my remote to my phone, so I didn't have the maps, and instead of having the maps up, the Google Maps up, I had this big white blank square, big white blank rectangle. So I've decided to pop my little DJI Mini 3 Pro photo up there. It's less distracting and looks a bit better, I think. So there we go, I've learned a fair bit. Just recapping, when I flew out in cinematic mode, I used about 2% battery, travelling a minute out. I topped out about 21-22 kilometers an hour, and I did about 350 meters. In normal mode, once again, I only used 2% battery. I topped out around 35-36 kilometers an hour, and once again, I only used about 2% battery. Going out in sport mode, I topped out 57 to 59 kilometers an hour. I used about 3 to 4% battery travelling out, and all up I did just under 1 kilometre in distance. That was a good little test, and I'm glad I did it. It's good to know the difference in speed and distance. I hope you all got something out of this. I actually love this drone. I've just upgraded from the Mini 2. What I do love about this drone is the remote inbuilt into, the screen inbuilt in the remote. I also love the plus batteries. Getting 47-minute battery life is very good. I also like the fact that I can now record in horizontal or landscape and portrait modes. I haven't put them to the test, but I think it's probably a good thing for me anyway to have the obstacle avoidance as well. I've had a few near misses here and there, and it's good to have them as well. So overall, I really love this little drone. I loved the Mini 2, and I almost couldn't justify upgrading, but now that I have, it's so much easier. Also, having the remote without having to connect the phone is good. I just press the on button on the remote and the on button on the drone, and within 30 seconds they've connected to each other, and away I go. So it makes it a lot easier and more inviting to go out and fly. Alright, if you like this video guys, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing with others. Thanks for watching, and safe flying to all you drone pilots out there. Okay, catch you later, have a great day. Bye bye.